ridiculousness for your ear hole.
I got a lot of sunshine and not a lot.
All right.
I'm recording now. So you're on recording now.
Okay.
We're recording. We're live. This will be in the blooper reel or something.
Perfect.
I think we started out with the blooper reel. Well, welcoming everyone to the third episode of the Truthendiculous podcast. You have your guest cup. I've got mine. It's water. It's not tequila or vodka.
I have double caffeine.
Oh yeah, see that. So, I'm Ben McCann. This is our co-host, Crystal Kratzer, Crazy K. I don't know.
Crazy K.
What's your other nicknames do we have? Can we use them? Are we staying PG in this one?
Remember?
Crystal. That's right. We got Crystal. We got Shenanigans ain't not with us today. She's got to work. She's working.
She's twerking for that.
She'll be back soon. She'll be back soon. But we had to get some stuff out there. There's too much going on right now. We got to talk about a lot of stuff. There's a lot.
Yeah.
All right. So do what you love what you do. You'll never work another day in your life. That's what I always say.
Yes.
So yeah, me and then me earlier. I said that earlier today. So, because I saw your post, you made a post, and I was like, "That's a great topic for a podcast. We need to talk about that." Both of us have some experience in helping people discovering who they are, what they're created to do. My tagline on my email says, "Who you are precedes what you do," because it really doesn't matter what you do, but who you are precedes that. So it doesn't matter. I've made some shifts in my trades over the years, and all of them have kind of come together full circle now to doing what I love and loving what I do. It doesn't feel like work, honestly.
I find that very.
Yeah, you the same. So I don't know if you want to maybe kind of tap into what you were talking about earlier on your post, and then I'll chime in here or there, but maybe kind of share a little bit about your story and then kind of what your passion is and why I think this is a good subject.
Well, as you know, we both help people kind of make sure that, trash it. How do I make to say this? Well, when I was younger, we'll start there. I always wanted to, be an artist, right? So I had said to my mom, I'm going to be an artist and I'll be a famous artist. And my mom was always, oh, that's great. You are a great artist, Crystal. And she said, ah, but you'll never make any money till you die. Because, art doesn't go up in price until you die, usually back then. So I always had that thought in the back of my head. Like, I couldn't do art and I wasn't going to make money until I died. She also said, actually, though, I will say, don't do hair. You'll never make any money at it. So she kind of put that in the back of my head because she was a hairstylist and she worked with a lot of the older ladies, got into the same loophole I did when I was doing the same clients for years and years and years. And you have a really hard time raising your prices when you've worked on somebody for so long. They look at you like you just tried to steal their baby. And no, Betty, I raised my prices $5 because the economy has gone up 25%, So.
And your materials cost $5 more.
Way more than $5 more, especially since 2020. Like a box of gloves. I don't know if you guys use gloves for Catalyst, but shameless plug there. A box of gloves was like $20, and my bobby pins, because I would do wedding hair, those went up from like $3 or $4 to like $16 a box. So yeah, it was crazy. But people still expected to get the same service for the same price. And it's hard for me because I see these people on a fixed income and I have a huge heart. So I'm like, oh, I shouldn't do that. But nobody thought about me. Nobody really thought about, well, her kids' groceries have gone up more and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Not that my clients weren't great, because they are and they were, but it's tugged on my heart. So anyway, part of that probably was the fact that in the back of my head, I had this idea that I wouldn't make any money either till I died, or I would never make any money doing hair. But I was artsy and I wanted to do art, How about you?
Well, similar. So my mom was an artist as well. She loved horses and she was always drawing. And so I grew up, man, I really loved art. And one of my favorite classes in school were art and PE. I was going to be a professional baseball player. That's what I was going to do when I grew up. And if I had to fall back on it, I don't know what I was going to be a truck driver or work at McDonald's because it sounded fun because we didn't get to eat out as kids.
Oh,
So like it was like driving a truck was like that sounded so cool because we would do the you know
we always did that too.
yeah, still I try to it's fun, but
Yes, it is fun.
even as adults now, we like have a carload of adults going
Still
somewhere.
do
We're like,
it.
see how many trucks we can get to go. So I thought the reason that I wanted both of those is like if I'm a truck driver, I get to eat out at McDonald's every day. So that
Yeah.
was like I like had this thing for like McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's, like getting because it was such a treat back then.
Right.
And so, but baseball player, professional baseball player. But so then when I went to college for design technology, I shifted my focus more towards the architectural engineering side of things, not the mechanical engineering, and away from graphic design because I also thought you heard the term starving artist. And even
Oh,
right now with AI, like things that I can do or used to do with Photoshop, Adobe Creative Suite, all the different tools. Now you can give AI a prompt and it literally create if you're good at detailing your prompt, it will create what you're looking for pretty much. And you can use
that's
that and it saves so
cheaper.
much time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then as a business owner, you either have the ability to create your own graphic design or you have to hire that out. Well, if you hire that out, let's say you need a logo or you need some branding or business card designs. Like used to be, you have to pay an artist a ton of money. And what if you didn't like it? You got to tell them try again. And then you're
Having
hitting a different deadline. And, you're paying graphic artists that are not that good. And then along came Fiverr, right? And Fiverr was like for $5, you could find somebody to do anything, right? And so you can say like I'd like a logo for $5 and you kind of throw it out there. So it got a little bit more than $5, but you could have somebody generate something that you could work with and
right.
create. And there's like some kid in the Philippines who spoke really good English could get you what you want for
Yeah.
$5. Your $5 goes a lot longer there, so you're tapping into the global economy. And then now you've got AI. Now I feel like there's still a need for people that have graphic design skills, but really you got to sharpen it and it's how to utilize all the tools, including AI. So I think people that are in the marketing world are having to reinvent themselves.
Sure.
I mean, let's look at it this way. AI and technology is replacing a lot of people's jobs and will replace a lot of people's jobs in the next few years.
So funny that you bring that up. You know the app Kalshi, and you can like bet on current events or current things going on.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So one of the things that I had said, and I thought for sure I was like, I'm going to win $8,000 off this $30 bet. One of the things was tech jobs, more layoffs in tech jobs in 2025 or 2024 than 2025. And I said there were more layoffs in 2024 because 2024 had been the worst for tech since 2023. Um, so, and up until that last minute when they had the government shutoffs before quarter four, I was winning. And then at
Man.
the end of quarter four for 2025, what? 2025 was not as bad as 2024 until the very end. So,
Son of a biscuit eating
yeah,
bullfrog.
yeah, womp womp. I lost 30 and I didn't make over 8,000, but that's okay. But I mean,
Yeah.
it is replacing jobs.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. There's not very many professional gamblers that actually make a living.
Right?
They
That's why
don't
I was
build
like
those
30.
big buildings off of winners,
Yeah.
okay? The deck is stacked against you, literally
You're like,
stacked against you. So if professional gambler is in your field,
it would
I
not
don't
be.
think I'm going to advise against that, but you do your boo, I guess.
Yeah. The only one
So,
I'm addicted to is Diet Pepsi.
yeah. So so think about this,
Yeah.
right? Even your new career field
Yeah.
of tattoo artist, right?
That's one of them. Yes.
It could be possibly recruit, if you stuck your arm, if you they create like how they have those things that do art on my gosh, I can't even it's like a tool that like a dye machine, it cuts like in wood or metal or like it does all the art on the wood, like what do they call it? Engraving machines and
We
stuff.
shouldn't say too much about this because my dad is a tool and die maker. Like he retired. I need to contact it. He made the machines that made the presses that did the headliners on the cars. Like he would go and do.
Yeah.
Maybe we shouldn't say that because data correct.
So, but
Yeah. Oh yeah. and they could do like the depth, and that's kind of scary. I didn't get
It
into
is.
I didn't get into
Yeah.
tattooing to do it. I never wanted to be a tattoo artist because it was too permanent. I did it because my boss needed help. He needed an apprentice, and I'm a helper, and I like art, so I did it and I love it. So that was like my side job till I launched my career that I'm switching into, which is like
Yeah.
personal development and image consulting. So, but it all goes hand in hand, really. You're still working with image, and it's just the outside. Yeah,
Right.
I like it though.
Well, and in my field, so I'll give you about my background. I went to Bible college for a whole semester because I thought I was going to be a youth pastor. My brother-in-law was murdered when I was there, so I came back home to be with family. I was like, Bible college wasn't for me, and so I enrolled in Ivy Tech, the graphic design, design technology, which was more on. There was different paths you could take on that, and I went more towards the architectural design because I love buildings, and I wasn't trying to get into mechanical engineering of like designing, sprockets and gears and stuff like that. Did not impress me, but houses and buildings and architecture did. Got a job as a wall panel engineering technician at Davidson Lumber Company here in Franklin, Indiana. Moved from Bloomington up to Franklin. Did that for 3 years. Saw that there was going to be a bubble and it was going to burst, and I was low man on the totem pole.
What year was
And so the bubble for the housing market. We're building houses like crazy, kind of like now.
okay?
It was crazy. They were just building. Everybody was getting new houses. Like, where all these new houses come from? Where's
Yeah.
this money come from? And I even built a new house. I'm 19 years old, designed and built my first house. I
What?
was 19. Yeah, 20 years old. I had my own house. Couldn't even drink alcohol in it if I wanted to, but I had a house. And I had a car, and I had a wife, and I had kids. By the time I was 23, I had 3 kids, a house, a wife, a car. And so, but I was like, I need to make more money because this isn't working. So I had my next door neighbor. He's like, "Hey man, the phone company's hiring down in Columbus. You should apply there." Like, and I was like, climbing phone poles and doing that sounds kind of cool. And I went and had an interview, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna be like making 6 figures a year and all this." I was like, "That sounds awesome." So I joined the phone company. Unfortunately, by the time they hired me in, they basically hired everybody but 3 people, and I was third from the bottom on seniority, and it was a union shop. And basically it was, I was stuck working weekends and the worst shift because that most of the good shifts were taken the Monday through Fridays and whatever.
Yeah,
So
3 kids.
I was stuck the crappy hours. I never got, and I was forced to do. And also, my pay scale wasn't going to go up because it was based on seniority. And so what they told me I was going to make, and what I did make good money, but it wasn't what I was making. In order to hit that, I would have to get all the overtime, and they give overtime to they asked the senior guys first, and those guys were always taking it.
Yeah.
So it never got down to third from the bottom. Do you want to work this weekend? No. All
Holidays.
the other guys that made more money on the hour and also had seniority, we took it. And I was like, after 3 years banging my head against the wall, not seeing my kids, always, working late and having and working weekends, I was like, this sucks. And so I ended up connecting with a bunch of business owners during that time and entrepreneurs, and I was kind of like, wow, I was like, these people are making their own destiny. There's some building trades, people that were in the building trades, and I was like, man, they're making like two, three, four, $500,000 a year, and they're doing simple work. And I was like, that sounds awesome. During that time, I went through Dave Ramsey's Financial Peace University at my
Yeah.
church, paid off all my debt, and then lost my job. So I was debt free,
Oh,
but yeah, so I was like, you know what? I want to help people with finances. So I got into the financial services, started out in individual health insurance, then I got into Medicare and then retirement planning, and then that got me into group benefits, and then group benefits consulting, HR, payroll, insurance, risk management, and then kind of everything. And so it just kind of grew. I spent 17 years in the industry that I never thought I was ever going to go into. That was for nerds, right? And I was the biggest nerd of them all,
can I say
but I
some
did,
stuff?
but I was also a people person, and I loved helping people and I loved educating them. But I was so young when I first got started that I had to work, and I didn't, it was you eat what you kill. Like, if you don't sell anything or you don't have customers, you don't eat. So I was washing dishes on weekends at my buddy's restaurant, and I was waiting tables at Applebee's, and I was doing everything I could because I had 3 kids and a wife that didn't work outside the home. I had to pay everything. And so, man, it was hustle, hustle, hustle. And here I thought I started to get overwhelmed. I was stressed out. I was burdened. Even when I started making good money, it was just never enough. It was never enough, and I wasn't like I did end up getting happy doing what I was doing, but it wasn't like this is my passion, right? This is kind of
Right.
I fell into this, and I'm doing well because I can make after a few years I got my feet on the ground and started making good money. I mean, I think my biggest one day commission at that one at the point in time was like 24 grand I made in a day.
Wow.
And I
Oh,
was like, that's a pretty
great.
good day, right? So I went from having to put cardboard in the bottom of my shoes because I had holes in them, and
Oh,
to being because I didn't want people to see. And here you are, you're young,
yeah.
and so you're trying to establish yourself as a financial professional. So you got to wear suits. I was wearing
So,
suits, and it's funny because I drove to the elevation worship last night with Stephen Furtick, and I see these guys coming out of the towers and the buildings. I'm like, there they are, the next generation of the young financial professionals who couldn't buy their way out of a paper sack right now, but they want to manage your wealth. And
right.
that was me. I've
Yeah.
been there, right? I was that guy that was like, I'm going to help you with your life insurance and your retirement, your financial planning, your
Yeah.
annuities, and your all this stuff and your benefits and make all this money. And then I got into doing that for companies. I was advising companies and
Oh, wow. You're like a,
you know, I yeah, I did consulting,
okay.
got into like self-funded companies that were I went fully insured to self-funded. So now I'm managing multi-million dollar health plan portfolios and doing fee-based consulting and sales. And so I was doing pretty good.
Yeah.
And then Obamacare happened. It wrecked. There was opportunity within that to make money and
Yeah.
help people, but initially it was very disruptive, and a lot of people just got out of the industry. My
Yeah.
average competitor at the time was 55 to 65 years old. So I could work circles around those guys because I went 99% paperless way early. But I just didn't love what I did anymore. Like I'd done it for so long and started over so many times. I just felt like I was, if I just was like, you know what? At that time that I left the industry was 2016 or 17, when I was like, you know what, I'm out. And I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I had a buddy that did like smart home security and automation, and he was like, you would do great. And I had always been a hobbyist for audio visual and security cameras. I'd helped buddies, because I knew how to run wire right from the phone company. I
Yeah.
was good at running wire and wasn't scared to climb ladders and get in attics and stuff. So I started out, doing that and grew a base, and then got really good at hanging TVs and running electrical and doing lighting and doing all this other stuff. And now it's like I love what I do. But I had to take that step of faith. Do I reinvent myself again? Do I find something that just pays the bills? Or
Right.
do I really take my passion and turn that into what I do for a living?
Right.
And during that time that I was in the insurance and financial services industry, especially when I was doing group benefits, I created a social networking website called Catalyst Jobs. And it garnered about 435 members locally that were HR directors, business owners, small to medium sized companies, and or individuals that were in job transition. And there was like a job dip back in 2008.
Yeah.
And so I was helping people. I started doing conferences, and I was speaking at different organizations, teaching people how to use LinkedIn in the job search. And so I was kind of like a pioneer in LinkedIn and in job search, teaching people how to like really market and sell themselves and utilize those social media tools. And so, I really enjoyed sitting down with someone that had just been working the same job for 20, 30 years, and they found themselves laid off.
Right.
And they were like, my first question I asked them is, well, what do you want to do? And they're like, I don't know. And they had been doing the same thing for so long, and they were so beat down, and they never really thought outside of the box, and they never really developed any other skills. They never really did anything. They thought they were just going to be in this machine shop forever, doing
Till they die,
this,
basically.
working on this
Yeah.
factory line forever, because that's what their parents
That's what
did, and their
they did.
parents were for them. And yet now they found themselves, their job was gone, or
You
someone
are now,
younger or a machine took
right.
over it. And I would ask them this. I said, if you could do anything in the world, regardless of money's not the object. Let's
Mhm.
say, you could make all the money in the world. What is it that you would do?
If you could get paid for it. Yeah.
If you could get paid to do anything that's in the world, what would you do? And then you would see the lights turn on.
Yeah.
They were like,
they have to think about it for a while because they're so
they do.
conditioned from a young age that
Yeah.
you should do this or you have to do this. Like, do you remember those things you used to do? That's just like, I'm going to be a doctor or a lawyer or this or that. Why? Because you thought, well, if I did that, then I could get this car and I could get this. It was never about what's going to like fuel
Passion.
your fire. Never.
Yeah.
No. What would you be happy doing? They're like, you should do this because this is what will bring you the most money or
Yeah.
fame or whatever. So when people ask that question,
Yeah, and
that
if you weren't doctor or lawyer or
yeah,
high income earning executive, whatever, you were nothing. It was like kind of
right,
like there was this tier of different level
yeah,
of jobs. It was like in New York City, they paid their garbage men multiple six figures.
because nobody wants to be a garbage man.
Nobody wants to do
Right.
that. But guess what? There's some men that are like, you know what, don't have an education, but I sure as hell can get on the back of a truck
I'll be the
and throw
garbage.
some trash away.
Like it pays, right?
All
Exactly.
right.
That's again, I feel like schools are part of that problem. Also, our parents, they raise us and they say, well, go to school and go to school and you could get a good job, or go to school, go to college, you could get a good job. And you're like going to school, getting brainwashed. They're going to college and getting student loans and debt.
And
And
brainwashed.
they get out, you're like, I don't even like this. So many
Yeah.
people get out and they're like, I don't want to do that, but you have all these student loans now. That is the American way, or it was. That's not going to be.
Yeah.
I already know this because look at all these people that probably are still paying off their student debt that are going to have an obsolete job now. Their job is no longer even going to be a job.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it used to be the number one job in like every year they come out like what the next the best jobs, the
Mm-hmm.
top jobs for each year, and even the top job 5 years ago has moved off the list as obsolete. It's like
You know,
these jobs keep changing.
right?
So like, and it used to be, go work for a big company and they'll be loyal to you and you'll be loyal to them and you'll get a nice gold watch and a pen and a pension and all that. That's what my grandfather told me. He
Yeah,
was like, you're going to have Social Security, you're going to have your savings, and you're going to have a pension.
yeah,
Between those three things, you're going to do all right. And it worked for him.
yeah.
Hey, I'm not going to have Social Security. Whatever savings I have isn't going to last me long enough. And there's no such thing as a pension. What's
Right,
that?
right.
Yeah,
Back in the day, homes also cost 15, 30,000. Now
right.
they don't. You know,
Yeah,
nothing is the same as it used to be, but people that grew up in that era think everyone else is failing and they put so much pressure on the younger people right now because they had it a certain way and they think, well, so and so's lazy. My son's lazy because he didn't have a house by the age of 35 or 25. Oh, you're behind on raising a family. You should be 25. All these things that manipulate
yeah,
to think I'm behind, which causes depression and
yeah,
in especially for men, because men
yeah,
don't even know they think they're behind because they're comparing to an unrealistic standard, and
yeah.
it that is the real like epidemic to me. That's
I
what it
want to
is.
put a pin in that. I want to talk about that with the
Yeah.
personal experience, but also with my boys that are 23 and 25 and
Hmm.
my son's starting his own business. But I want you to expound on that a little bit.
I will, but first I want to touch on something else because you brought it up and I didn't know this about you, but it makes so much sense. So, when you know how I always talk about my dating don'ts, people you don't date, what industries you should not date.
Yeah,
One of the
yeah,
number ones I say you should, is an absolute green flag, is the insurance sales. The people that are investors, like the retirement people, the healthcare, those people, green flag every time. I actually have not met a bad financial advisor as far as like
I have. But hey, I worked in
I
the industry.
as far as the people I know that have dated them, the people that I've come into contact with that are
Yeah.
friends of mine, that's a green flag for me all day. So
Well, here's the thing.
get that.
That industry is highly regulated. You can lose your licenses over the littlest things. I mean, you have to be 100% above board with your dealings. You have to be honest. You have to be ethical. I mean, you're constantly doing ethics and recertifications, and you have to disclose. You're used to putting everything out there and disclosing everything, and learning how to communicate effectively because you have to disclose this is compensation disclosures and just all these different things. And so when you're in that industry, you have to have integrity. And most
Mhm.
people with integrity, it doesn't matter what they do, they're good. They end up being good people in relationships.
Yeah.
So,
So I just want
you know,
that's a flag for me because I've listed so many red flags over our time of knowing each other. So that's a big green flag.
yeah, and I agree with you on those red flag job too. So I'm like, yeah, run from,
I have
any job where there's a great opportunity that they're probably going to be a Mexican American and still do their job. Run away from that. Said Mexican American.
I
I
was
don't know
losing
if.
you a little bit. Your internet?
Yeah, making sure that
Uh-huh.
is picked up on there, and I'll fix it in the captions later when I do the editing. But yeah, so I'll make sure it picks up the right words.
The right
But
word.
so yeah, okay. So green flags. Well, let's talk about. Well, I'll even a segue into that. I was talking with my son the other day, and he was frustrated.
Mm-hmm.
He's been working in the work, since he was 15 years old. Right, started out mowing lawns and doing all the jobs you can do as a
Wow.
teenager, and then working in trades. Both my boys started young. They were 8 and 10 years old with little hot dog stands and lemonade stands and stuff like. They were
Yeah.
always thinking of ways to make money, right? I was encouraging that, and I really didn't care what my kids would do for a living. I just wanted them to be happy. And
Right.
so, both of my boys have worked in multiple different trades. I mean, they've built pools, they've worked in concrete, they've worked in framing, they've worked in commercial glass. They've developed these skills. They're certified in all kinds of, they can do forklift operation and heavy machinery equipment. They're 25 and 23 years old, and they've got a lot of skills, right? And both of them had D1
Right.
offers to play football and wrestle in college, and yet they didn't go to college. They didn't go to college. They chose to go into the trades right away, right?
Smart.
And here's my son now, 25 years old. He's worked in all these trades, but a lot of the owners of these companies are assholes. They treat these guys like numbers, especially if they're young. Well, my kids are smart. Like, they've seen me, they watched me struggle and watched me make it, and they worked for me, and I've taught them a lot more than just how to be a slave. And so my son was just like, man, he's like, I just can't go back to a job anymore. He's like, I can't do. He's 25 years old. He's finally got to figure. He's like, he's struggling to start his new company and to keep it going with his framing business. He does handyman work and stuff like that. RileyBuiltSolutions.com. I'll throw a little link, a
So
little
he
little
built.
tag there. So I helped him
That's
start his own company,
awesome.
get his own brand, get some stuff, got a website, got a logo, got a Facebook page, got some business cards. He's out there
Yeah.
plugging away, building referrals, getting jobs. And he's one of my subcontractors. I subcontract work out to him because I can trust him. I know he's going to do a good job. And then he subs out work to me because I have skills he doesn't have,
Mm-hmm.
and he's got skills I don't have. I'm not setting
Mm-hmm.
I'm not setting glass. I'm not
That's neat.
doing some of this other work that he knows how to do that I don't even know how to do. But yeah, I think there needs to be more incentive to teach kids that there are other career paths other than go to college and get a job. I think there needs to be
Do you know why that's
trades. I think they need to talk about trades, electricians, plumbers, low voltage techs, other types of skill sets they don't need a college
yeah,
degree for, that they can start working in even in high
they do.
school.
Do you guys have a vocational school like a Four County or a Pennant
We
County or something
do,
like that
but it's a
in
separate
Indiana?
whole separate school. It's a whole
It is
set. I
a
mean,
whole
it's
separate school for us as
all this.
well.
Yeah,
But my
They
my
do they do have that, but it's not
mhm.
pushed, right? The only people are
No, it's not
pushing it are the parents of the kids that are going to those have parents that work in the trades that say, "Hey, go work a good trade." It's not
or
college
good
parents
and
that are
conventional
telling their
school.
their kids, even though their kid may be better off in a trade. And even those vocation schools, they wait till they're in high school before they even start talking about that. They should be talking about this stuff way
That's true.
earlier on, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And there needs to be
Mm-hmm.
funding for that. Post, that not just high school, but then post secondary instead of college, there should be trade schools that are paid for by government funds, and not just college. And why the college kids get paid for, but then the trade school kids don't. They got to self fund it. So where's the
Right.
grants and the loans for that?
Well, it's GPA based usually, SAT score based, how they get their funding, or they get a grant or whatever. But it's hard to do, and they don't want people doing that because then they aren't part of the rat race, which is keeping America. And I do believe in this. Like, I do believe, and it's actually come out that Yeah, it's come out that they are basically making people robots, believing that they have
Yeah.
to do these certain things to be able to. And I am the complete opposite. So that's why I'm actually going to be homeschooling my kids next year. I'm trying to get them out early this year because I'm just like, this is absolutely ridiculous because
Yeah.
I'm an entrepreneur. My
Yeah.
husband's an entrepreneur, and I don't know why he's so hell bent on. I think it's because he liked his high school experience, and I did too. But it's different now, and they don't teach you to be an entrepreneur. They don't want you to think for yourself. They want you to follow. This is the way we do math, and this is how
Well,
you get from A to Z. It's not. There are 27,000 ways to get from A to Z. Some are
yeah.
faster, some are easier,
You know,
but
the problem
you know,
with being in the rat race is that even if you win the race, you're still a rat.
absolutely. But do you want to be a rat with debt, or do you want to be a rat that figured it out? Because
I don't want to be a
I'm like the
rat.
savage.
I don't want to be a
What?
rat. I don't want to be a rat. I don't want to be in the rat race, and I don't want to even be a rat. I'd rather be a cat, catalyst. So
Get a hey, hey, hey,
I'm a
hey.
lion,
Yeah,
baby, a lion. I'm
yeah.
not a rat.
I don't know. I'm not for like governed success. I think it's gross because
I
I guess
agree.
my brain thinks it works. I'm ADHD. It's just it's like 100 raccoons in a trash can right here.
Yeah.
Sometimes they work
So,
together. Sometimes they don't.
what I do, right? So a general contractor, but more of a
I don't know
technology
what.
integrator. Very highly male-dominated field. But last year I had 5 female techs,
Yeah,
one of which was Shy, one was Cat, and I had Allie. I had some amazing technicians that came through my doors, and my customers loved having female techs in their home installing TVs and running wire and doing sound and setting up their
yeah,
mesh networks and do all that stuff. And especially with the volunteer work that we do with the abused women and domestic violence survivors, sending in a female technician to install their security cameras and alarm makes
yeah.
them feel a lot more comfortable. They are a lot more, yeah. It just doesn't,
You're sim.
there's just a comfort level with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. I would prefer that. I mean, as a woman, I would if I was, and I have been a victim of DV. So to have a man come in when nobody comes in my space. You're one of like I
Right.
think 4 men, and one of them was who have ever been in my space, and other people have been like I've known them very well, like good friends, right?
Yeah.
But you just feel so violated in everyday life. So to have somebody install cameras in your house,
Yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
you
great
know what?
bringing Cat and Cheyenne.
Here's the thing. Like, well, other than Allie, all the female techs that we brought on didn't have that in their background. Like, it wasn't something they had thought about before. But I just, they're like, I need a job, I need money. It's like, well, I don't have clerical work because I automate all my clerical. I don't need somebody messing up my billing and messing up my scheduling, and I don't need to automate most of it. I need technicians. So if
Right.
you want to learn how to use a drill, you want to
Yes.
climb a ladder, you want to run some wire, they're like, you know what? I
Yeah.
want to do that. And they did it. It wasn't hard. It's like, hey, most of it, I mean, there were some instances where they need a little bit more muscle, but for the most part, it's not something that it needed physical manpower to do more than, and then it was stuff that they could do. They would go into an install of like a TV, even the big 85-inch TVs, and you got 2 girls, all female crew going into a house, and the guy's sitting there, judging them and like, are you
He's just
kidding?
like
You're gonna, I
the
hired
most
you to this, and then, or with Cheyenne and Cat, or it's like they go in there and they're like knocking out, installs, and the
yeah,
wife is looking at her husband like, you couldn't have done this,
yeah.
or the guy's there by himself like, and it was, but
And
then when you
not
did, but the elderly
yeah.
people and the female customers, they loved the female techs. Most important, gave them that
Well,
peace.
I think you knew that. I worked at Radio Shack for 5 years, and I was the only female there. And I was like, basically, I knew more about the back when they had the antennas. Guys would call in and be like, "Yeah, I want to talk to a guy about my antenna," and I'd be like, "Barry," and Barry's awesome. Barry, if you're watching this, I love you. He would still come into my salon and say hi to me all these years later. This was when I was 17. He had his pants up to here. God bless him. And he'd be like, "Hi, this is Barry. Welcome to Radio Shack. Love him." And he'd get on the phone and he'd go, "Well, and he gets all flustered. Well, if you would like to talk to our specialist, you were just on the phone with her. And even though I wasn't the specialist, he hated when men would talk down to women. So he'd be like, she's the one you want to talk to. I knew the exact amount that everybody else. So he'd be like, well, they'd be like, and he's like, yeah, exactly. So
I love
love,
it.
yeah, Barry's my home. I'll send you a picture. I actually will post a picture of Barry and I. How about that? Because
That's
I'll send it.
awesome. I want it. No, you send it to me. I'm gonna put it on this
Definitely
video in the post production. We'll have a picture of Barry up there. Like, you get his permission first. Have
Barry.
him sign a disclosure. That's freaking awesome. I
Yeah.
love that.
And John Marsh, my old Radio Shack boss, what up, John? He is the reason I got to go to New York Fashion Week. So I was 17. Okay, 17. That's 1,000,000 moons ago. I had worked for myself for so long that I didn't have two bosses alive. The only other person I ever worked for had perished away. And he wrote me my letter of recommendation to go to Fashion Week because it was the last person I worked for. And then I actually did both of his daughter's weddings. Yeah, so
Aw,
I was like 6 or whatever they were, 3 and 5 when I worked for him. And then, just a few years ago, I got to do their hair and makeup for their wedding. So great people
that's awesome.
to this day. So my tech people are also good people. Tech people, financial advisors, ladies, if you're listening, I'd say it's probably 97%. 97%. Good. Cops, 99%. No bueno. Just my Diane would totally disagree with me right now. She'd arm wrestle me, but
Yeah,
that's my opinion. So
that's fine. So
we
I'm not going to offer an opinion on that. I have opinions on that, but I don't feel like I have the authority as a
I know
male
some
to
good
say what. Yeah, there are definitely
they
the
have
cop buddies. There
not
has to
everybody,
be.
like experience wise.
There's always people in every industry that give people a bad name, but
Yeah.
man, there's certain industries when you're a bad egg, it really impacts.
98% of
Yeah.
people say that are people would say that 98% of hairstylists, and I myself included, that they're psycho. Okay.
And I
They are.
I would
And
say that that's been my experience as
yeah,
a male.
I would agree.
At least a high level of psychosis
I would
and
agree.
unstable. Yeah.
I said I
And
have
because they make enough money to talk shit. I
and
mean, they
they
because
make
they do good
right
money and they're like,
usually. Yeah, I would 2% higher. I was like, "Are you the 2%?" I would collect all the 2%ers. They were in my salon.
yeah.
But then one would
Now,
act crazy. I cut them out.
76.3% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
Or 95. Whatever's working for you.
0.3% of all statistics are made up on the
Really?
spot.
No.
Yeah. And I'm correct 100% of the time, 90% of the time.
100% of the time, I'm right 99% of the time. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe
yeah.
83.2% of the time I'm right 100% of the time.
Yes, I love it. Like, there's a 99% chance. There's always that margin of error. We can't
Yeah.
fall into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could.
So I had some of my conservative friends, really conservative friends, kind of balk at the title of one of our sub clips from
Oh,
our
yeah.
last podcast.
I even posting it, I was like, should I not? I was like,
I
I
have
get it.
my friend Julie. She's a Christian author, and she just finished her book, Walk on Water, and
Oh,
I'm helping her with her podcast and her
so she's
tech and some things. And she loves me. I'm getting ready to go down and visit her in Florida here tomorrow. I'm leaving. I'm go hang out. I'm going to work on some stuff in her Florida home. And she's got a home in Carmel. She's got a home in Florida, and so
by the way,
I showed her the podcast and the show, and she was like, "Oh, I like to subscribe." And then all of a sudden, I'm on the phone with her, and she runs across that. She's like, "Oh, unsubscribe." I was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! You gotta
whoa, wait,
listen to it first." I
yeah,
said, "You don't understand." I
oh
said, "You
god,
can't handle the truth. There's some people they need a little bit of crass
you gotta
for
soften
that
it up.
crass for that ass. They need to be able to know that you on their level."
Yeah,
So I said, "We talk to everybody. I'm not going to exclude people."
right,
So, and it's like, you'll tattoo anybody, right? I
yeah,
love what you posted about the tattoo artist that had the sober tattoos. I'm literally crying in my van. Getting ready to go to customers. I was sitting there waiting for Riley to show up to the job site, and I'm crying
yeah.
because I was so moved by that. I was
You
awesome.
see that my mentor said you can absolutely do those tattoos for free. He said you can do it, and I was like,
It's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, it was basically what it was. Since we brought it up, was um, the the dates of how many days sober they were. Not the day they passed, but how many days did they stay sober before they had a relapse or
Right. It was
relapse?
like three. It started out with like 382, right?
It was like 382 or 392. Yeah.
Yeah, 382. Lady comes in, a tattoo artist, and she says, "I want you to do a tattoo of the number 382." And he's like, "Yeah, just no problem. What's the significance?" And she's like, "My daughter just passed away. She made it 382 days sober before she passed. And for that 382 days, I had my daughter back. For that 382 days, she she
Yeah.
was her, and she fought her ass off, and so I just want that tattoo 382 to remind myself every day
How hard she
that how hard she fought, and that to never give up. And even though she succumbed and lost, like it cost her, but she still was for 382 days it was possible. So maybe if it 382 days was possible, maybe 383 would be possible. And then so he put that in his tattoo
like a frame.
window,
Yeah.
the number, and it's like free sobriety tattoos. And then people started slowly taking him up on it, and they had a story. My son, my dad, my aunt,
Yeah.
just bawling. And
I
then the
know.
one,
Then she came in a year later and she said, I'm getting a tattoo of 365 or one. She said, I want one year of
yeah,
me being able to live with grief after my daughter passed.
right, because she was ready to give up. She was ready to give up,
She was ready to give up,
and she every day she had to live with that grief. And
and
so
it was 1 year. How
she
strong?
now marks the years that she's not giving up. But there was that one father that came in, and he's like, I need zero. And he goes, my daughter never made it a full day. She never made it 24 hours,
Oh
but
gosh,
she fought like hell so many times. There was a million battles that she fought. And so they made the zero into an infinity symbol. There
infinite.
was like
She fought
infinite,
hell
infinite number of battles. Yeah.
hmm every day. I know. And it really hit home for me because don't cry because I'll cry. You're not crying. Um
There's
both
no crying in podcasts.
I have seen my one coworker Raul, but the other two guys I work with uh are on their sobriety journey. When I started working there, they still they would drink. It wasn't like anything, but they stopped drinking. One of my coworkers just posted his I think it was his 90 day or 60-day coin. And for one, let's just say that takes so much courage to post that,
Yeah.
especially the guys, I work with. Not saying anything about anybody else, but these are guys with face tattoos. These are guys that,
Rough
they've
looking,
all probably at least been in county at some point.
at least county.
But these are also, aside from, some of the other people that I mentioned already, they are some of the most genuine, would do anything for you people that I've ever met.
Yeah.
You would see them out on the street, most people would, and be like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. They are the nicest people. And two of them they've been, one I think it was like 90 days and another 60 days. Like, that's amazing. That's life changing.
Yeah. Well, and some of the tattoo artists that I know and that I've been to, they're some of the most amazing people.
They're so
They're so
talented.
cool. They're
Know.
not fake. They're so real because they deal with people all the time. They're the realists.
They hear they're girls get their nipples pierced. They're just come in and take they're just let me just pierce that. They've seen everything, they've heard everything, and they've done almost everything
Have you found your niche artist yet? Or are you going to be that niche?
of what I'm gonna do. Like the niche of what kind I'm gonna do.
You remember the last show, the niche?
You mean like my butthole tattoos? Is that what you're talking about? Like
Yeah, your
yeah.
butthole tattoos. Have you found anybody that's specialized in that yet? So,
I want to do fine line tattoos and like my mom when she comes through in like the spiritual form, she comes through as anything pretty with wings. So birds,
wow.
butterflies, fine line tattoos, anything pretty with wings. And just I love nature and I like fine line tattoos and anything that has I like meaning. I do also like Greek mythology and the religious tattoos though. And I don't know if you follow the guys that I work with, but they've been posting some of the most amazing religious tattoos lately. It's so good. I'll send them to
That's
you.
awesome. Yeah, send them to me. I'll check them out too. Yeah, send me their profiles. I'll check. I think I'm following your mentor. I
Yeah,
know I'm following him.
yeah. He's so talented. He's so fast. He's so talented.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
his dad, so we were talking about generational stuff, right? My mom was a hairstylist. I became a hairstylist. His dad actually had served some time, but picked up a skill, and that was tattooing. So he taught my mentor how to tattoo at a very, very young age. And would you know the other apprentice in the shop is my boss's son? I think he's 15. He's my daughter. He's about my daughter's age. He'll come in
Wow.
and he's doing a lot of stuff. He really likes to do nights, like do nights with armor and stuff. But it is really awesome when you have an artistic parent. Both of my parents were artistic, and they pass
Hmm.
that as a gift down to their kids. Yeah, the kids might have their natural ability and talent, but to help nurture that and make it safe that they're doing that, that's wonderful. And my mom would do that with me. I think she always hoped I would do it as like a fun hobby, and I did enjoy hair when I was doing it, but I didn't want it to be the only thing I had to do until I died. Like that didn't feel fair because I
Yeah.
there's so many things I want to do, and I'm sure you felt the same way. We
Yeah.
want to have the courage to shift our careers and
Yeah.
explore other options.
Yeah. Even now, my career, even though I'm doing what I love, it's evolving. We're adding things that I didn't know that I would enjoy, and
Yeah,
starting to get projects that are like the Murphy doors with the fingerprint scanners and the different cool stuff that we're doing now. Like when somebody has an idea, or like, yeah, if you have a crazy idea or you want to build something,
your
let
guy.
us do it. We love that stuff.
Yes,
You see something on the internet, you think it's AI, we can make it real. I
yes,
love it. So the creativity about it, I'm just like starting to really get some traction. Last year
yes.
was a record year for us, and
Oh,
we're hoping this next year is even better. So
that's amazing.
I'm excited. I mean, the best is yet to come.
Oh,
I want to
absolutely.
shift focus a little bit, if you want to.
Yeah,
We
I'd
were
love to.
talking about we were talking about careers and do what you love what you do. I definitely, we should talk about maybe some resources that are out there. I want to do a whole other podcast
Oh,
on
yeah.
entrepreneurship. I know Dave Ramsey got into entre leadership, and there's a lot of people that are out there, tons of books and resources that maybe we could actually kind of like talk through some of that stuff. Because, and I wasn't prepped for that today to throw that up there, but man, some of my favorite resources, The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, which did some coaching session with one of my clients on the room. And so there's a tipping point illustration on my whiteboard over there. But Five Dysfunctions of the Team by Patrick Lencioni, anything by John Maxwell on leadership would be is awesome. Um, just anything that you can digest on leadership, growth, development, marketing, sales, relationships in business. There's so many resources out there. You just got to start becoming a sponge and a student, and you constantly have to never stop learning. Those are my rules for working with me is treat everyone as special, have a good attitude, never stop learning, do more than what's expected. I mean, those are the four top rules
Those are great.
that I have. So never stop learning means, I learn from my guys. There's people that work for me, but sometimes they'll have an idea or they'll have a way of doing something that I learned from, and I don't be like, well, no, that's wrong because I didn't show you how to do it. You showed me. Like there's people out there that are like that,
That's,
that
yeah.
they're horrible bosses, and I always encourage people to come to me with like, hey, you got an idea, bring it to me.
Yep.
And I want to see people succeed. And so I think those, when it comes to books for people, The Five Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni, and the the 360-degree leader, I think, is a good start. 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, and the 360-degree leader, where it's talking about you don't have to have a title to be a leader. You can lead from the middle, you can lead from below, you can lead from above. It doesn't matter where you are in the org chart. You can lead because leadership is about influence. It's not about a
Yeah.
title.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really important when it comes to wanting to be an entrepreneur. You by default are going to be a leader, and you have to decide whether or not how good of a leader you're going to be. Another a book, Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad, where it talks about the wealth building quadrants: the
Such.
employee, the self-employed, the business owner, and the investor. ESBI. Those are powerful things that stick with you, that keep reminding you, hey, I don't want to just be self-employed. I don't just want to go and do the work that somebody is paying me hourly. Like the guy that goes to work as a plumbing apprentice, and then he starts plumbing and he's like, they're charging all this money an hour and they're only paying me 35. I'm going to go do it on my own and go buy a job. And now all of a sudden you just bought your job. But the end of the day, you don't make money if you don't go to work.
Yeah.
A true business owner, and you can even have 25 employees, But if you can't take a month off and come back and the business is growing and doing better, you're not a true business owner. A true
Correct.
business owner puts processes and systems in place and people to run them so
Yes.
that he's not putting in 100% of his efforts. He's using 1% of 100 people's efforts.
Or you're
And
married.
I think that's the difference
Right.
in a true business owner. So I'm not there yet. I'm trying to. I've been there before. And then when I shifted industries, I started over. So I still have to get up and work every day, but I'm trying to build those team and those people. And that journey is
Yeah.
growing, but I've got amazing people.
Yeah.
I just got to get to the point where I don't have to go to work anymore. I'm working on
You
that,
can go to
where I
work.
can be an investor and a business owner on that other side of the quadrant.
Yeah. I always found that the sign of a good leader was if you can train them up so well or help nurture their learning so well that they get to the point where they could go out and do it on their own. A lot of people want to keep people feeling small.
Yeah.
I used to build my girls up. They felt like Superman. They'd be like, "I'd like to open my own salon." And I'm like, "Good for you. You go do that. Like that's amazing." Yeah, I was never like,
Right.
"Oh my gosh." And that's probably why it was time for me to bow out too, because I would
Yeah.
awesome people, but they all went out and started awesome businesses. So
And that's awesome.
yeah,
I've done that as well, and especially like with my son, when
yeah,
he needed work and he was on his own and he lost his job, but he just needed side work, and side work turned into, I was like, "Hey man, he was work I some of the side work he was doing, he was working for me." And I was like, it'd be real easy to, man, I want to, take all of his skill and ability and profit from it, but I'm like, "No, I'm going to set him up so that
right,
he's subcontracting for me now, but he's going to get to a point where he has his own, he
right,
doesn't need me anymore." I would rather have that than, because he doesn't want to do what I do, right? When
right,
I need things built, I can sub that out for him to build, but he doesn't want to do the tech. He doesn't want to do
right.
the electrical. He doesn't want to do the lighting. He doesn't do that stuff. He wants to build the stuff with his hands, the woodworking and the
Hmm.
glass, the metal, and the cool stuff. He wants to make stuff with his hands, and that's awesome. I love doing that too, but I also love the tech side. He has
Yes,
no passion for that, so it's not like he would be able to take over my company in any day, and he would
right.
be capped out at where he could grow with it. And so I was like, "Hey, son, let's start your own company. Let's get your own card out there. Let's see what you can do and start building your brand." And I think
Your passion.
that's,
Don't
yeah,
follow
your
the dad's
brand.
footsteps because it was his passion. Follow your
Right.
that brings us full circle.
Yeah.
Follow your passion because if you're not passionate about it, it won't work out. It doesn't matter how much money you will make from it, it will not work if
Yeah.
you have passion for it.
Well, and ending that conversation the other day, because I was like, Bud, I was like, no matter how hard it gets, just don't quit.
Yeah.
Just don't quit, because eventually you're gonna hit that stride and everything will be okay. I know money's tight right now, but your bills are getting paid, aren't they? He's like, "Yeah, but I'm not saving anything. I'm not getting ahead. I'm stressed." I'm like,
Groundwork.
"It's gonna be okay. Trust the process. Keep
You're only
going. Get up. Go to work every day.
every day.
Do it, do it, do it." But
Show up with a
but
smile.
he was getting depressed, and in money struggles, his fight with his girlfriend. I'm like, dude, I've been there. I was like, bro, when I was your age, I had 3 kids and a wife. I had 4 mouths to feed on top of my own, and I was not,
Yeah.
I was like, I trust me, I I know.
Yeah. There were only two things I ever told my kids. Two things. I said there are two rules. Patience, patience, and never give up. The two rules, and that's it. Because if you have patience and you never give up, the rest will work itself out. Be loyal,
Yeah.
be good, yeah. But the two I'd really beat in were patience, patience, and never give up. And they used to roll their eyes.
That's funny because my son's so impatient. He's ready for everything right now. And that's what his
Well,
frustration is. And
mhm,
I'm like, Bud, calm down, be patient. I
patience.
didn't have that. When I was a young father, I didn't have time for patience. I had to make shit happen now, and I did not have time for
Or
patience.
you wouldn't
And I
eat.
was very impatient, which
Yeah.
which caused problems in my relationships because I was always, I got to go, this got to get done. I because I got to go to this job, and it was just constantly producing, constantly, and I missed out on a lot of opportunities, as a father because my kids didn't see me as someone that was very patient. And
Well,
now that's
here,
changed. It's changed and changing. Where like, "Oh, Dad, you
developed
grow
yet.
up. I grew up with you
They're
guys. You guys
undeveloped.
grew up, but I was growing up.
Yes,
Like now I'm grown. I'm patient. I'm teaching them patience. Huh?
you were a kid raising kids.
I was.
Now I look
Yeah, I didn't know.
of like a small group of people that are one of the most patient people I know.
Yeah.
So look, it's okay. We
Wait,
all
you
have,
said that about me?
yes,
Wow. You know what? That's awesome. I appreciate that. Man, I've been getting so many compliments lately from people.
you
I
deserve.
love it.
I'm giving you your flowers because you have worked really hard. I have very few. I have very few people that are male. Almost none that are women. Almost none. But very few people that are male that I can say, you know what, they get the gold star award for not just recognizing their faults at one point in their life. We all have them. But recognizing it and being self-aware enough to take action to actively every day work on that, and not just that,
Yeah.
back to the community while you're working on yourself. You were
Yeah.
going healing and you were helping heal others at the same time.
It
Those
was.
summer, I mean, both of us were. I'm gonna tell. We were bawling our eyes out, and we were just like, you were giving me flowers. I hadn't heard of anything in a million years, and I was like, you are freaking awesome, and you're like, thank you. And it's like, literally, these. There are so few people that feel, that wouldn't be insecure to say, hey, you're doing a great job, because it's just people think it's weird. It's not weird.
Yeah.
Everybody needs to be told that they're doing a good job, and I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I am.
Yeah.
I'm very proud.
Those words, if you're a dad that's out there, whether you have a company or not, you need to tell your kids that,
Yeah,
especially if they're teenagers. They need to hear, I love you and I'm proud of you.
and I'm proud of you.
And it's not, there's, I'm proud of you no matter what.
Hmm.
I don't care that you failed or you got a C in that class. Like, as long as you're doing your best. Because, my daughter was super, super smart, but my boys were super smart, but in a different way. And so their grades didn't reflect their intellect, and neither did mine. I barely graduated high school, but I had a 4.0 GPA in college because I went to college for what I wanted to do.
What you
So
wanted.
it was like, yeah, but it was tough to sit in a class because my boys and myself are very similar in that we like to do
Yeah,
stuff, like
yeah.
move. Like sitting
Brain.
here for the last hour has been
Yeah. Well, it's because you're so intelligent that it's hard. People that have overactive brains, we think differently than neurotypicals. So our brain,
yeah,
we're hearing a light turn on. Most people are like, oh, the light's on. I'm hearing the
yeah,
light on. I'm thinking of the different things that are firing in that light. What's making it go? Okay, and that, like my brain
yeah.
will go, and then I'm like,
We're neurodivergent for
yeah.
sure.
So it's a magical gift, and be telling somebody that they're not smart or they're not right because they don't think the way that maybe 80% of other people think. And like schools, you have to do it this way, this way. No, let those neurodivergent
Yeah,
go, because anybody would tell you that those are going to be the boundary pushers. Those are going to be the inventors, the
yeah,
people that go off and do great things.
yeah.
Not that other people,
You,
we just do it different.
my son, because he didn't have the best grades, always felt like I always thought that he wasn't smart. And
My daughters.
I tell you what, I had times when he was a teenager and I had him run wires for me and we were doing installations and we come up
Hmm.
against a problem and it was his creativity that solved the problem.
Yeah.
I was like, he was a 16-year-old kid, and I had to go, that's a great idea, son. Good job.
Hmm.
Super, super smart. He's just really creative. He thinks of things differently
Right.
and he has creative solutions. And the tough part that he has is he has a hard time asking for help.
Yes. Yes.
And that's a guy thing. And I think guys gotta get over that. But I had to learn that the hard way as well.
We all have. It's ego, and the older we get, we lose a lot of it because we get humbled quite a bit,
Hmm.
and then we're like, I don't need to hold on to that. It's not
Yeah.
me, right?
Yeah.
So I understand.
Well, I would say I'm the most humble guy I know, and you can read my book, Humility and How I Achieved It, on New York Times bestseller list.
I did not know that. I have a couple
But
books
no,
I got
that
to.
correctly placed confidence sometimes gets mistaken for arrogance, but
Yeah,
but it's not, because honestly, that came from humility. It came from being humbled to the point where you are at the lowest of the low and you have to be real with yourself, real honest with yourself to see the pain that you're suffering, the circumstances that you're in, and your role in that. Not because this person didn't pay this bill and I didn't get this
right.
and whatever. And you start
Yeah,
pointing fingers at all the people around you, but at the end of the day, you got to take ownership of it.
yeah, because
Even if there are legitimate strikes and things that came against you, at the end of the day, you got to own it. You got to own your
you do
life. You're the only one that can do it. No one else can do it.
absolutely, absolutely. You could go, like we said the other day, you could go to the grave blaming everybody else, but what's that going to do? You want a participation certificate for this lifetime? I know I don't. So take it with you if you want, but no thanks.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. So like and subscribe to the podcast. Write in the comment section what you want us to talk about next, what you thought about some of these comments, what you thought about some of these topics that we've had going on. And we're going to have some special guests coming up, some different topics. We're going to have additional people, not just me and Crystal rambling, but it'll be some fun. We'll have some fun guests that are really gonna exciting. And yeah, I think we also need to talk about food. We were going to go on some food journeys
We
together.
food
So
for sure.
food, yeah, we need to do some food stuff. So
Yeah.
food's coming up, nutrition, diet, exercise. We're going to be talking about, being healthy and what that means and what that looks like from multiple aspects, spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, all
Yeah.
those areas we're going to cover. And we want to just try to be a blessing, give you some truth in all those areas, and we might throw some ridiculousness in there. Well, thanks everybody
All
for
right.
tuning in.
Thank
Thanks.
you,
Please
everybody.
like and subscribe and share. Thank you. Bye.
Please, thank you.
A little bit of truth and ridiculousness for your ear hole.